Alright, in this section we're going to use Cramer's rule, which means we're going to use determinants to solve systems of equation, and for 7 we used inverses. And determinants, you remember, we can use, we find those in the math. Under math we go matrices and then we go to the math menu, and number 1 choice is determinants. Now we're going to set these up. You're going to set up 4 matrices. That's your first instruction. Set up 4 matrices and enter all of them in the graphing calculator under A, B, C, and D. Now, what's important to notice is that we're solving for different things. We're solving again for X, Y, and Z for the variables. And matrix A we're going to use to solve for X. So I'm going to highlight matrix A. Oh, we'll use sort of a green for matrix A. And that we're using for solve for X. Okay? So on our next page, you're going to notice this is what we're going to do when we solve for A. We're going to use the determinant of matrix A over the determinant of matrix D. So let's just look at those 2 things to solve for X. So we're going to go back to our first page. And in matrix A, first of all, here's matrix D down at the bottom. We're going to use that to solve for all of them. X, Y, and Z. This time we're solving for X. So in matrix D, we're going to put the coefficients of X, Y, and Z. So looking up at your 3 equations that you're given, you're going to put the coefficients for X in the first column, the coefficients for Y in the second column, and the coefficients for Z in the third column. So you're going to have 2, 3, and 5. Then the Y coefficients are 2, 2, and negative 2. And the Z coefficients are 1, negative 2, and negative 6. Okay? Now you're going to try to find the determinant. You put that in. We're going to eventually put that in matrix D, or you can go ahead and put it in matrix D in your calculator. Now we're going to go up and look at what we're going to use for X when we solve for X. So we have to set up this matrix we're going to put in A right here. Now, what the difference is, you're going to put the Y and the Z column is going to stay the same as it was in that matrix we filled out. But you're going to take your answers from your equations and put them in column X. So the answers, if you notice in problem number 1, are 3, negative 1, and 17. And you're going to put those in the X column. And then your Y and Z column, again, are going to stay exactly the same as they did in your coefficient matrix D. So this is what changed. This column here is what changed versus the column that was all coefficients. Now we're going to go to column to solve for Y. We're going to solve for Y with matrix B. What's going to be different here, and we're going to still use this one, this D matrix, it's going to stay just as it is, but we've got to set up the B matrix that we're going to use for solving Y. And this is the Y column is what's going to be different in this matrix. And so X and Z are going to look exactly the same as they did in matrix D. but we're going to put our answers this time in our y column. So comparing it to the coefficients of x, we're going to go in the x column, 2, 3, and 5. And the coefficients of z are going to go in the z column, 1, -2, and -6. And the answers, 3, -1, and 17. And you notice the highlighted column is exactly the same in the matrix A and matrix B. This is the one we're going to use to solve for y. And now we're going to go to our okay. Now we're going to solve for z. And when we solve for z, we again use the same matrix D, but this time we're going to change the z column. And I hope you've guessed, x and y are going to look the same as they did in the D matrix, but our answers this time are going to go into the column where we normally put our z coefficients. So this matrix will look, it will be 2, 3, 5, 2, 2, -2, 3, -1, and 17. Now we have to go back and find the determinants for all of these. And again, remember, the way you do that, you access your matrix. Okay, so you're going to go second, X, -1 button. That's going to get your matrix menu. Then you're going to hit math. You're going to arrow over to the math, and you're going to choose choice number 1, which says determinant, and it's going to flash up on your home screen. And then you're going to go, it's going to look like this on your home screen. Okay. Then you're going to have to tell it, you're going to have to go back, second X -1 to get matrix. Pick what matrix, 1 for A, 2 for B, 3 for C, 4 for D. So put in matrix, whichever one you want it to find the, it's probably going to look like that instead. And enter. Okay, so you're going to have to use your calculator to find these determinants. And when you do that, then, and work these work them in your calculator till you can get these numbers. The determinant for A was -160. The determinant for B should have been +160. The determinant for C was -96, and the determinant for D is -32. Okay? And I think I ran, let me go back and put that where it will show up. I think it was off the screen. Okay. Now, once you've found all those determinants, then these are the formulas you're going to use. X, the variable x, you find by dividing the determinant of A divided by the determinant of B. So that would be -160 divided by -32, and that gives me +5. The determinant of B would be +160 divided by -32, or -5. And Z, variable Z, would be the determinant of C, which is -96 over -32, which is +3. So the solution, if you write it as a point, is 5, -5, 3, or x equals 5, y equals negative 5, z equals 3. And it doesn't matter to me whether you write it as a point or just x equals y equals z equals. Okay. So looking at number 2 here, the second example. You're going to, so looking at number 2 here, you're going to have to fill these out. Now, if one of these is missing, if there's not an x, a y, or z, you're going to have to put 0 in to one of these blanks. But they're all here in this one. So remember, x is the first column, y and z. Now, we're going to use A to find x, B to find y, and C to find z. So you're going to put your answers in those columns, in each of those. So our D matrix is 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, 1, negative 5, 3, and 5. And the determinant of D, if you put it in your calculator, is equal to 24. Okay. So A, again, I replace the first column with the answers for the X matrix we're going to use for X. So it's negative 7, 7, and 8. And the rest of it stays the same. 4, 2, 1, 5, 3, 5, and that should be negative 5 there. And so the determinant of this one was equal to negative 48. Okay? So just calculate x then. X would be the determinant of A over the determinant of D, which is negative 48 over negative 24, or 2. So 2 is x. Alright, now y. Y, the x and z columns stay the same, so they're 1, 3, 2, negative 5, 3, and 5. And we change the y column and put the answers in that. Okay? And when we put it in the calculator, we find the determinant of B is equal to positive 24. This should be negative 24. Sorry. Now let's go over here and find y then. And that's going to be the determinant of B over the determinant of D, which is 24 over negative 24, or negative 1. So negative 1 is y. For C, we're going to change, the first two columns stay the same. 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, 1. And we put the answers in the Z column, which are negative 7, 7, and 8. And we find the determinant of C to be negative 24 when we put it in the calculator. Now, let's go over to our next page and figure out what Z is. Z is equal to the determinant of C over the determinant of D, which is negative 24 over negative 24, or positive 1. So X is equal to 2, Y is equal to negative 1, and Z is equal to 1. And so that would be our answer for example 2.